Today's November 31st. This is the first day after Thanksgiving break. Hope everybody had a great time. We're going to start out going to Dashboard on Canvas, and then we're going to click Biology, which is for this class. When we get to there, we're going to see that the front page changed just a hair. Just move things about a little bit to get rid of some clutter and hopefully focus where we need to be. Click on the current lessons every class period, as we've done every single day from day one. We're going to click on current lessons, which is what we've done as well. Now I'm putting everything right here at your fingertips. So today you're going to see at the top, and for the rest of this semester you're going to see Google Meet links, which you'll see your link here to go to Google for our live lessons. You're going to see the virtual schedule, which will show you the schedule for each day. If you get on here, you're going to see homeroom is on Mondays, and the rest of the week is when we can meet with you as teachers, send you an invite, things like that, so that we can kind of get together and discuss any of your concerns. So if you look below here, you're going to say daily details, which is going to share everything that we're going to do from here till the end. Right here, you're going to see that our goal is to focus on the final exam from here till the end. So that's exactly what we'll do. We're going to start out today talking about the scientific method, which is Intro to Biology when we started the year. When we look at the assignments for the week 7, classwork assessments, those are the only assignments you're going to have for the week. So right here, you have this for your assignment today. It's worth 20 points. It's due tomorrow, and I'm leaving it open till the 16th in case you don't get it done by my due date. Again, no penalty. If you click on the assignment, it will take us to the page that describes the assignment. It's worth 20 points. You can take it twice, and here's a preview. On the preview, it's going to show you all the questions, which are pictures with an experiment explained, and then you're going to match them appropriately at the bottom. So if you click on one of them, it's going to give you the choices here, and one of these 4 is the option, but you need to read the experiment first to understand. Okay, let's just look at, so for example, a control group is a group that you don't do anything with. You keep it under standard conditions. So for example, if I have 2 flowers and one of the flowers I'm adding, for example, fertilizer to it, and the other one I'm not doing that with, the one that's staying under normal conditions being watered in the sun in a pot with dirt, that would be my control. It's going to be what I'm going to compare to when I'm done with my experiment. Independent variable is I for independent because I am the one as the experimenter who's going to change something. So in my example of my plant with the fertilizer, I am putting the fertilizer in it. So the fertilizer is my independent variable. If I have the dependent variable, which is down here, if I have a dependent variable, when I put the fertilizer into the plant, I can't tell what's going to happen, but something's going to happen because I did that. And it should be the plant gets taller faster than the one who doesn't have fertilizer. So the independent is the fertilizer, the dependent is how tall my plant would be. Because this is what I'm controlling, and this is what happens because of what I did. And remember, control group is the group that doesn't have anything happen to it. The experimental group would be the independent dependent variable. All right, so hopefully that explains those that you may not have been sure about, because those also ask the same information. Okay, so now let's go back to the dashboard and to our current lessons, back the same way we started, and we're going to go ahead and look at what I wrote for today. All the assignments from the past have been closed, so they all closed on November 20th. From here to the end is all going to be final exam material. Like I said, we're focusing completely on the final exam. The first thing we're going to talk about is Intro Bio Review, which includes scientific method and characteristics of life. We'll use the first few days to do that. We'll continue to cover these things in our review. Like when I plan to give you like 3 practice tests to do before we get to the final exam. So those will also go back and review that material too. You need to keep up and keep going through this so that you're ready. After Intro to Bio, which was scientific method and characters to life, we're going to cover ecology review. We're going to cover cell structure and function review. We're going to do cell transport review. And then we're going to do cellular energy review. Our focus on the final exam is going to be from here to the end. The one other thing I want to mention is everything's been closed. Your next option, if you are one who's in a position that you're failing this class, your last chance is to do the final exam and pass the final exam. So if you go into the final exam with a failing grade and you pass the final exam, this year, because of COVID situation, you're going to be allowed to pass the class with a D- if you pass the final exam and you're failing the class. So the recovery assignment was open for 3 weeks. Originally, we were told we should have it open for 2 weeks. I decided to make it 3, along with all the other assignments being open too. I gave you 1 credit recovery assignment to do. That would replace 5 of your lowest scores. I also told you that once I replaced those 5 lowest scores, if you still had zeros on your grade report, as far as all the assignments that we had listed on Skyward, I would give you 3 exemptions if you had 3 additional zeros after your credit recovery. So, 61 people participated in this credit recovery assignment. 18 of them went from failing to passing. Actually, we have to change this to 20 because I did have 2 more that I did pass from the 61. 40 scored 100%. 45 people improved their grade. So of these 61 people who took it, 45 of them were already passing when they took this assignment. 18 of them were failing and went to passing. That means 90 students did not take this credit recovery assignment. Now, the interesting thing is the reason why the credit recovery assignment was created to begin with, as well as this option to pass the final exam, were for those who were struggling and failing their courses. It was an opportunity to help you catch up and to be able to compete to the fact that you would be able to pass the final exam, pass the class, and move forward. Now, in biology, you do not have to pass the first semester in order to take the second semester. It's not like math where it builds on one another. They're independent. So if you pass CP Biology 1, you would go to CP Biology 2. If you fail CP Biology 1, you will still take CP Biology 2. So it doesn't stop you from taking that second half. Okay, let's go ahead to our review. Review scientific method is our first stop along our review trail. I gave you 2 different pictures here because they both mean the same thing. Scientific method is a bunch of steps. I like how this goes like a stair step. This down here is more appropriate to what we studied throughout the semester. So I'm going to probably use this one to talk about here in a minute. But the point of showing both of these is the fact that the scientific method, if you looked at 10 different versions of scientific method on the internet, you would see 10 different arrangements as far as how they go about coming through these steps. Although we always start with a question and we always end with a conclusion, or in this case, a presentation. It depends on which one you're looking at. So you're just going to have to kind of get the idea of how the steps go. And here's what I would remember. There's always going to be an observation. What do I see that I want to know? Then I'm going to say, okay, now let me form a question. And then after I form my question, I'm going to do research on it so I can be more educated to become knowledgeable enough to make a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a prediction. It's an educated guess. If I do this, this will happen because whatever you found out. The next step is to design your experiment. You're going to come up with steps of the scientific method, like I'm going to have 20 people involved in my experiment. I'm going to have those 20 people take a test. That test will, they will chew gum and not chew gum to see if that helps their concentration and their scores. So you'd be assessing if their scores went up because they were chewing gum, or if they didn't go up because they were not chewing gum, or whatever may be the case. So once you collect that data, so for example, the test score would be your quantitative data because it's numbers. If you do qualitative, it's what you observe, what you see, smell, hear, touch while you're doing your data collection, or even what your volunteers do. Analysis is taking this data that was collected, which you turned into a data table, and you made a graph, and looking at that information and saying, what does it tell me? Usually an analysis is a paragraph or two talking about what did I understand my data told me. And the conclusion is wrapping it all up in a big, nice bow, saying, okay, this is what my experiment told me. This is what I realize is the case. I'm going to go back and restate my hypothesis and say whether or not I was correct or if I made some kind of error that I probably should do again, and what kind of experiment would I do if I had a chance to do it again. Okay, the next thing is a video here that shows you the steps, terms, and examples of scientific method. This would be a nice review for you to watch and be able to use as another tool to prepare. This down here, again, is the assignment that I shared with you at the very beginning, which have the questions for The Simpsons that were experiments. There were 5 of them and worth 20 points. You can take it twice if you want to. And that is it for today.